Hey YouTube, Active Asshole on pills here with another glorious rant. That's Active Asshole on pills, kryptonite for conservatives. I'm off my rocker and off my pills. Let's go. You know, libertarians love to get into quote wars. You know, using quotes by the founding fathers to somehow give, as if it somehow gives their position some kind of extra added punch. And I mean, eh, it's cute and all, but let's be real. These are the founding fathers. These are men who lived back in the 1700s. Men who believed that that bloodletting by way of leeches was considered a viable cure for diseases. Well, it's used in operations today, but it wasn't. But they thought it could cure the common cold and all that stuff by bleeding the germs out of you or something. So you know, or that's like saying that's like using quotes from Isaac Newton on on chemistry. Just because a guy was famous in chemistry in gravity doesn't necessarily mean over his work with the development of the law of gravity doesn't necessarily mean that the guy had a comprehensive knowledge of chemistry. You know, that he believed that you could make gold from lead through alchemy, for crying out loud. So, when conservatives, well, not conservatives, but when libertarians try, in the American sense, American libertarians as opposed to the real libertarians that used to exist and that exist in as they know it in Western Europe and such. When libertarians in America use terms, quotes by the founding fathers, you know, they conveniently pick out the ones that support their views, and they throw the other views they have under the garbage. That and the founding fathers were men who didn't really support second or third generation human rights, because the battle for second and third generation human rights didn't really get into high gear until about the late 1800s. So yeah, but I discussed that in one of my earlier videos. So yeah, I mean, they could get into the quote war and everything, and I mean, we could get into a quote war with them. And I understand everybody wants, again, I understand everybody wants the founders on their side. Everybody's got them some founder love. But by the way the Libertarians act, you'd almost think that Thomas Jefferson himself sat down with Ayn Rand and penned Atlas Shrugged in the Fountainhead. Seriously, these folks have this they develop some contrived theology that limits property, human rights to property rights and to property ownership, and human freedoms to property ownership. And yet somehow they think, I mean, of course, and the thing is, one of the things that really appalls me is when modern followers of modern liberalism do this. They'll turn around and they'll say, "Oh, well, the founders were liberals." Yeah, but they were classical liberals. They didn't prescribe to modern liberalism in the sense of as developed by Thomas Hill Green and other figures in the late 1800s. They prescribed to a specific kind of liberalism that was more more John Locke than anything else. However, I will, I will give them this. Their liberalism has a lot to do with Hamiltonianism. Bits and pieces of Hamiltonianism and Jeffersonianism woven together. It's not necessarily a it's not some clear cut and dry. Oh, the founders were one of us. The founders were one of us. Conservatives like to pull this shit. I got into this argument with somebody when I was taking my fall 2009 semester classes at Jacksonville State University, and they this little asshole decided to come out and say, "Oh, the founders were with us. The founders were with us. The founders support our junk," even though most of their writings are from Thomas. Most of their beliefs are from Thomas Aquinas and his natural law bullshit, and this idea about ideas developed by William F. Buckley Jr. and Russell Kirk and a bunch of John Birchers out of, who themselves were a bunch of former Silver Shirt Legion members from back in the 30s. So again, conservatives and liberals can't pull the whole "the founders were with us" any more than libertarians are. Just so the libertarians realize I'm not singling them out, but they're the ones that are the worst about this shit. They really fucking love to latch on to the founders as if they have a monopoly on founder correlation. It's or whatever you want to call it. They have a love fest for quotations. One of the things I like to get them with, however, and assuming I actually allow myself to fall into the quote war battle, and believe me, I've studied American political theory. I've studied a lot of higher end classes when I was at college, and learned a lot about the founders and the Federalist Papers and such. And why the founders moved away from the Articles of Confederation and such. I know how again, I know some of the quotes. I know some really good quotes. And one I like to hit them with is one by Thomas Jefferson that throws them for a loop. They'll oftentimes say, "Oh, well, Thomas Jefferson said that government that governs best is that which governs least." And I'll turn around and I will say, "Well, Thomas Jefferson in that same sense also said, well, may our children be wise enough with time to choose, to push for things that we are not yet ready for." That they really do not like it when you throw that quote out there to them. But I digress. Again, libertarians. Sometimes I think that if you gave them a Thomas Jefferson blow-up doll, they'd kill each other just to get a chance to sleep with it. Peace out, guys.